All I know is that it's sort of a miracle.
This long-forgotten box of film that was nearly tossed in the trash is now a treasure of home movies from the 1930s and 40s. Most of it is shot in color.
Here's a 16mm movie camera, the type which would have shot this film. Back then, you were in the top-of-the-line technology.
Professional film archivist Bradley Reeves says what really sets this footage apart is the quality of the film and the photographer.
He obviously knew what he was doing. We were able to find out who shot these films, Granville Hunt.
You'll find Granville Hunt's grave in Loudoun County. He died in 1963 and grew up in Knoxville. But who was Granville Hunt? Dig through the newspaper archives and you'll see why his home movies are so superb.
A professional photographer, he wasn't your average home movie maker.
Hunt's career with a camera developed as a teenager in the 1920s. That's when he became one of the first ever staff photographers for the Knoxville News Sentinel.
Also worked for TVA. He had quite a reputation as a photographer.
And one of these lost reels reveals rare shots of a place close to Granville Hunt's heart.
Smoky Mountains, 1939. Newfound Gap. Look at the color on that. That is absolutely fantastic.
I was amazed. This hidden treasure, colored movies of the Smokies in its early days as a park.
Reverend Charles Maynard knows all about the Great Smoky Mountains. He's written several history books and served as the first director of the nonprofit Friends of the Smokies. Maynard says in the 1920s, Hunt's name was in the news for more than his photographs.
He was an expert photographer, but he was also an expert on the Smokies.
We found this footage of a teenage Granville Hunt in movies shot by Jim Thompson in the 1920s, when Hunt was one of the best young members of the new Smoky Mountain Hiking Club.
And so you get a Granville Hunt, and you get a sense of how much fun they're having. Photography, even at that point, was so new that you've got a Jim Thompson and a Granville Hunt that just developed as the technology developed. And you see how passionate they were about getting the park started, about marking the Appalachian Trail.
18-year-old Granville Hunt and fellow hiker Roy Osmer blazed 128 miles of the brand new Appalachian Trail through the Great Smoky Mountains.
It's Hunt and Osmer that go through step by step in the Smokies to find the actual way to do it. The highest point on the entire Appalachian Trail is in the Smokies. It crosses over Clingman's Dome. I mean, you really had to work to get to those places. There were no trails. It was this adventure, and they were opening up this whole area.
Hunt's lost and found footage in 1939 shows the Smokies 10 years after he marked the Appalachian Trail, and this area was a national park just 1 year from its official dedication.
I mean, it was almost like time travel. Like Newfound Gap, you get to see it before it looks like the way we see it.
You can see that it has not even been paved around Newfound Gap yet.
It's a view that we would never have seen. But the other thing that jumped out at me was people.
People dressed up even to go to the Smokies. It was such a big deal.
Now, there are tons of other home movies that captured early scenes of the national park, but it is the professional perspective that makes Granville Hunt's salvaged film of the Smokies a historically significant work of art.
That's the difference here, is the quality. Well shot, the colors are astounding. The shots were composed beautifully. It really captures the beauty of the mountains.
I mean, the camera's right here. You're getting to look over Granville Hunt's shoulder at what he saw, and you get this sense of what he was experiencing. It's a window in time that sets up our time.
So this box of old lost and found film not only has footage of the Smokies in the 1930s, it's shot by a professional photographer who just happens to be the guy who blazed the Appalachian Trail. And that's just on the first reel of film. We have a lot more to show you about Hunt's career as a photographer. with rare footage of downtown Knoxville.
We couldn't believe what we were seeing. You're never going to see anything quite like this again.
Join us for that in part 3 of our week-long Hunt for History. For WBIR 10 News, I'm Jim Athene.